The Secrets of Technology is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give. Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Technology, where we discuss the technology news that's important to you from a uniquely Catholic point of view. Joining me today on the panel are Thomas Sanjurho. Hey, Thomas.
Hey, Dom.
And Father Joseph Sund. Hey, Father.
Good to be with you.
So let's get into today's topic right away. We've kind of touched on this topic in various ways over the past few years. Back in 2021, we did an episode, it was episode 112 on getting rid of your old tech responsibly. And then in the same year, episode 117, a few episodes later, we talked about buying and selling safely online. And then just last year in 2024, episode 251, we talked about getting your tech ready to recycle or resell. So we've kind of danced around this topic that we're going to talk about this time, which is basically how to buy and sell your old tech online and or even offline. But the best we'll start with where to sell your used tech. Then we'll talk about where to buy used tech if you're in the market, and then some best practices for buying and selling used tech. Do you guys do much? Do you tend to buy your stuff new? Do you buy stuff used? What do you do, Thomas?
I very rarely do I buy anything new. I think my phones are the only things that I really buy new, and I'm even leaning away from that, in all honesty. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I did not buy this last phone new. I went to Best Buy and got a used one because it was a returned phone. And it's just basically because people, they wanted an iPhone and they got an Android instead. So they take the Android back to Best Buy, turn it in, and get a credit to get the iPhone they want. Right. So you get a phone that's basically fresh out of the box or never even been opened. I think this one had never even been opened. And I got it for almost half the price.
It's like the car was driven off the lot, loses half the price.
Exactly.
Yeah, the whole thing. For myself, I buy new phones. I buy used computers when I'm buying for myself. When SQPN is buying something, I buy the new thing because I want the best, performance to get the work done. But I often find myself having to buy used phones for the kids. Because I pass my old phones down to them, but I've got 5 kids. I don't have that many new phones. I wish I could afford to buy new phones.
If only were that easy, right?
Yes, right, exactly. So I'm in this situation now where I'm about to upgrade to the iPhone 17, and I've got one kid who needs a phone, and the other one's like, but my phone's battery is terrible. And so I'm like, So it's actually after today, I may be using one of these services that we talk about to buy him a new phone. So that he can have something that can, keep a battery life for more than a few hours, that sort of thing. And, so that, how about you, Father? What do you tend to buy new, buy used?
If it's a planned purchase, it's usually refurbished or used. If it's something that's impulse, which I'm guilty of at times, it's usually new. So if Amazon catches my eye or something, I'm a little worse about it. But like my MacBook Pro that I have was refurb used. I did that through Amazon Refurb, and we'll go into some of those ideas later. Yep. But yeah, my bigger purchases are usually going to be refurbished, except for my cell phone, because I'm on a business plan that makes it a little better to buy phones. So that's a different story.
I think phones often are a little different for many people. And I think it's the battery life, if anything. Like now, if you can get like a basically brand new phone like you did, Thomas, that's the one to get the used. But as we get into it, we'll talk about battery life. But you want to with your phone, you just want, it's even more so than the latest model. You just want a great battery, and battery life is the key. So let's get into talking about some of these, the selling part of this, selling our old technology. And I basically broke it down into 3 different categories, right? And there's a fourth category I see that we've added. So let's go through them.
Sorry, that's me.
That's good. That's good. So if we can talk about if you want to get the most value, the best buck, the biggest amount of money. There's one area. If you want to maximize ease of use in getting it, like making it as easy, the process as easy as possible, you may not get as much money, and it may not be as secure, and that's a whole other thing. But you want to make it easy. And then if you want something the best if you want to be safe and secure in selling it, there's other methods. And then what if you just want to get rid of it? You're not going to sell it. You want to recycle it. So we'll talk about those as well. But if you want to get the best bang for the buck, and and it's not so much, you're not so much interested in looking for ease of use. eBay is not a bad place to start for selling. It comes with some issues, which is you are the seller, so it means you have to deal with other people's inquiries. You're going to end up having to pack it and ship it and deal with all that sort of stuff. You can get a little more probably on eBay with certain products, not everything you're going to sell. But eBay also charges you some higher fees. So eBay has a very large audience, obviously, and you can either sell it outright. Nowadays with eBay, you don't have to auction. I mean, it's kind of funny. I always think of eBay as the auction place, but I would wager that most things on eBay that just today, items just sell straight up and don't get auctioned.
Yeah.
I think they just get listed for a price. But there's always that option if you want a bidding war, especially if you have something that's kind of desirable right now. Like, this is the last one of these widgets that this company's going to make with this feature. And then suddenly everybody wants that one before it's not available anymore.
The funny thing with
retro tech.
That's what I was going to say. The funny thing with eBay is the ones that I do the most auctions on, both selling and buying, is those retro techs, those collectibles. I recently had a student that has gotten into retro tech, so I've stopped selling as much stuff, because if you can pass old technology and the next generation to become collectors of computers that can't get on the internet, it's something to take pride in. So
yes, most definitely. So yeah, eBay is a good place. But if there's another sort of consumer to consumer, technically, although a lot of people selling on these marketplaces are actually small businesses, but another one is Swappa. It's swappa.com, swappa.com, which is like either someone from New York or Boston started this, I guess, because it's Swappa instead of Swapper. So it is a tech focused marketplace. So eBay has all kinds of stuff, porcelain cats, and everything. Whereas Swappa is just technology. They do have standards, like when you list a phone, that has to be inspected. You have to upload, like there's a process by which they try to check and make sure that the devices are up to a certain level. They require, like on iPhones, they require the battery to have at least 80% battery life left, because once an iPhone app, the OS detects that the phone's below 80% battery quality, it starts displaying a message that you should replace your battery. So they have some standards, which is good. The fees are a little lower for the seller. So as a seller, not the easiest path to go along, but you're going to do a little better than in this. There's some, I think you might have a higher quality of purchaser through some of these sites, put it that way, that you're working with. And then, I put back market here. I meant to put back market under buying as opposed to selling, because you don't sell on back market, you buy. Let me just, that's just my error in the outline. So those two are if you want to maximize the amount of value you get. Have you guys ever sold through tech online? I should have asked you that in the first place.
Oh yeah.
And what did you use when you did?
This was back during like the COVID era, and I think I used Macari.
Macari, I haven't heard that one.
That was an app. I think it's kind of faded out of use now.
Okay.
I've done Facebook Marketplace a little bit, especially if I'm not if I'm just looking to get rid of it, especially I found Facebook more for those niche markets, especially for collectors.
Yeah.
And I want someone who's going to appreciate and collect well. I have Facebook groups that I'm in and things like that for tech. So that's a different classification. But
right.
The advantage of Marketplace is that you can do a lot more local stuff and not have shipping and all of that.
Right.
That's what I've tended to do because I don't want to be like when I get hardware, I don't want to have to ship it. That's a whole another pain in the neck. And so I live in a major metro area with a lot of techie people. So I've unloaded like old NAS drives and stuff like that, old audio interfaces, that sort of thing, to local folks. And that was, it was easy enough to arrange. And I always make them come to me because like if you're buying it, I'm not traveling.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I'd say first, if for myself, before I sell, I like to bless the less tech savvy people in my family with my old stuff.
Sure.
And so my nieces and nephews are a little bit spoiled with having nice technology and things because I like to upgrade and it makes me feel better to pass it on to them and feel like I'm doing something good. Mom's on the cell phone upgrade plan, which is my last cell phone, is mom's cell phone. So things like that. And I think that's another good model of getting rid of old tech is keep it in the family or keep it close to friends.
That's what Pat does. Pat Scott, who's on the show on other weeks. And as some folks might know, she's my mother-in-law. She also does a lot of tech support for people, and they often have old tech that they're getting rid of. And like there's often elderly people or, they don't have anyone to give it to. So she'll take it and she'll send it to us to give, to our kids. Like we have so many iPads and, old phones. And sometimes the phones are like right on the edge of being useful. Like they're only going to be useful for maybe another year or two, but it's just enough. We have kids who we don't put cell phone service on the phones. They have the phone in order to do audiobooks and take pictures and listen to music and that sort of thing. And that's their only purpose. So I don't worry too much about them being good as phones per se.
Yeah.
But that's a great idea is to find people in your life to pass stuff on to who could benefit from them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the last time I sold anything online was back when Craigslist was still a thing, which I know it's still there, but
yeah. When was the last time? It's
kind of shady now. Yeah.
Remember when Craigslist was killing the newspaper industry, the classified ads?
Oh my gosh!
Facebook killed Craigslist. I think Facebook Marketplace.
I would agree with that.
Kind of what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the last places I get rid of old tech at is I have a local recycling place.
Well, we want to get to that. We do want to get to that. That's in the third part. I don't want to get too far off of what we're covering. So I do want to cover the recycling in a bit. But so we just talked about maximizing your value. What if you just care about making it easy? Thomas, you alluded to Best Buy has a trade-in program.
Yep.
If you have Apple gear, Apple will take lots of stuff with trade-in or even just to recycle it. But if you've got a phone that's at all of a recent vintage of in the last 5, 6, 7 years, you can probably get something for it. And a lot of these other companies like Swappa and Back Market and those guys, they'll also take your stuff too. Gazelle used to be a much bigger name in this space, and I think they might have. I think they might have gone through a little rough patch for a bit. I've sold things to Gazelle in the past, but I haven't heard much about them lately, and I heard some things, but I think they're doing better. Like their reputation is recovering a little bit. But Apple, you can trade in. Best Buy, you can trade in, so you get credit toward future other things. You're not going to get as much money for it as if you sell it yourself, but it makes it easy. But Gazelle, and there's another one called Declutter. They'll straight up pay you for your gear. They give you a quote right off the bat on their website. They'll prepay for the shipping, send you special boxes, so you don't have to like find a box. You package it up, the whole thing. So it's really makes it super easy. Have you guys ever sold through like a Gazelle or an online like that?
This is the first I've heard of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about that one. I have done the Best Buy trade-in before. So, and that's really, I recommend doing that anytime you're going to buy a phone. Make sure that you're trading your old one in, because otherwise it's just going to be sitting in your house, and collecting dust.
Yeah.
And there's no point in that, really.
To wit, my closet of obsolete tech.
Right.
I always say one of these days I'm going to gather it all up and just cart it down to the local Apple store and just see, like, either give me a credit or just take it away, but recycle it.
If you're someone who uses a lot of Amazon tech, old Kindles, Fire Sticks, things like that, often they'll give you a trade-in credit for those devices. And especially if it's something like a Fire Stick or an old Echo, usually the credit's more than it's really worth, because they want to keep you... they want to keep you in their ecosystem.
They're not looking to resell it. They just want... Right. They're just trying to keep you in the family, locked in, shall we say. Right. That's a good point.
So I know I gave my sister a old Fire Stick to quickly register to her account, so that for my niece, she wanted a new Kindle. And so she got the 20% off or whatever for her Kindle.
That's great.
Based on a $10 Fire Stick I had laying around. Right.
Right. That's a great idea. That's a great, if you've got old Amazon gear or Apple gear or Google gear cluttering up, like I said, like a closet or something, or a drawer, pull it out and see if you can get something for it, instead of leaving that clutter around. So yeah, and as far as Gazelle, they were big a few years ago. Like, they were advertising a lot of podcasts. That's how I knew about them. And I did sell some things through them, and it was pretty easy. I had some old iPhones. I did a whole bunch at once, and I got some pretty good money for it. Not as much as I could have maybe as selling it straight up to somebody, but it was a lot easier. Now, if you're prioritizing safety and safety and security, like, you could sell locally, right? You could put a listing on Facebook Marketplace, or in a local Facebook group. That's another thing you could do, is you can go into your town's Facebook group and say, hey, I've got this old gear I want to, offload to anybody who needs it. But so you can sell locally. But if you do, you want to make sure you're safe. And if you don't feel safe having people come to your home, if they're not a neighbor or something, a lot of police stations have now set up something called safe zones, or internet zones. They call them various different things, but it's like a place outside the police station in your town where you can tell people to meet you there, and that's where you can have an exchange of the goods for cash. Here's my old phone, here's the money, and it's a safe place. It's so that you're in full view of the police station when you're doing it. So that would be a safer way of doing in-person transactions for sure. So that's good. And then Swappa and other trade-in programs, they also build in some protections for the buyers and sellers, so that, and you want to take advantage of those things. And I'll get a little more into those when we talk about the buying used tech, because, some of these things go for both, but for, when we talk about best practices, I'll bring up some of those things.
When you do sell the tech, make sure you take advantage of those, because there are a lot of people who will do what is it? I can't even think of the term right now. When you just deny the charge. Yeah. Well, they'll buy your tech, they'll get it, and then they'll deny the charge, and then the charge won't go through. They'll dispute it. They'll dispute the charge.
Right.
And any of these companies that are any good will provide a protection for you that validates the charge through their individual purchaser, and that helps.
Basically an escrow service. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Take advantage of those. And I'm going to talk about one in a few minutes about something in specific. Specifically, you can use a specific program that is agnostic of which marketplace you're using, but we'll get to that. And then, Thomas, you were talking about what if you just want to get rid of it? And Father, you were too.
Yep.
Yeah. So what were the ones you were talking about there, Thomas?
So one of the ones that I've used before, and this one's actually pretty cool, and I found out that there's one near me now, even closer than the last one I used to go to. It's called Eco ATM, and you can price your device online and then find a local kiosk to drop it off at. And the kiosks are in like a grocery store or like in a mall area, and you just go in and you have a package that they've prepared for you, and you put it into the bin, and then a few days later they credit your account with whatever it was. So if you're getting rid of the device anyway, go and take it to one of these things and they'll give you some cash for it, because they can always recycle this for the stuff that's inside it, like
even just the
gold
metals.
And, yeah, exactly. So they'll burn it down and make some money off of it, and they'll give you a part of that because they don't get the device otherwise. So if you're getting rid of it, you might as well do this. And if you don't want to go through the hassle of any of that kind of stuff, there's also another site that I pasted in here. That's I'm sorry, those are called Eco ATMs. So that's the one you would want to look for that. But then there's also the Eco. I lost my page. The eSmart Recycling. Yeah. And so this is where to recycle stuff in your area. So it will talk you through the different kinds of places that you can take your tech, because you shouldn't be just throwing your tech in the trash. You should be disposing of it properly, especially e-waste that has lithium batteries and things like that in it. You want to make sure that you take it to the right kind of facility. So it shouldn't just go in your trash can. It should go to a good facility for it. And this will give you the local areas where you can take those different devices so that they're disposed of properly. Nice.
Very nice. Yeah. And there are, eSmart Recycling is just one. I mean, there are, you should look for e-waste or electronic recycling, Google it, and, electronic recycling near me would be a great Google search. And you will find places in your area for that. But you're right. Like, too many batteries are ending up in landfills and basically poisoning the ground. That's that's what you're doing. You're poisoning the ground. You're creating a hazardous waste. So it bugs me because my town does a hazardous waste collection day for this sort of stuff, but then they charge you for like the massive amounts, and it's like, I can't afford to recycle this stuff with you. I need to find somebody who is not going to charge me an arm and a leg to get rid of this stuff. So, but those are great. The Eco ATM, I hadn't heard of that one, and I've got like 4 of them within like driving distance of me. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Definitely check it out.
Yeah, I have a couple places in the Omaha metro area that are charities that run recycle centers. So there's a little place called like Redeemed Computers, and then the Goodwill has a place. Redeemed Computers is one of my favorite little places. So if we have Omaha area people, worth checking out. But it's a job training program ran by a Christian organization, but they do recycling and upcycling of those computers and stuff. But if you search around yourself, there might be charities that take things and you can help benefit a good cause as well with your old junk.
Excellent. So that's getting rid of or selling your used tech. Let's talk about a little bit about buying used tech. And we're going to use the same categories of if you want to maximize the amount of cash you're going to get, if you want to maximize ease of use, or you want to maximize safety and security. So if you want to maximize the cash, eBay, again, this is if you want to this in this case is minimize the cash you're spending. eBay is going to be a good place because you can just as someone could sell for a lot, you can also find things of varying qualities at very low prices. Now, you got to be careful because
Yes.
they are varying qualities, and you may end up with something that no one's checking to make sure that these are of the quality of what the person is telling you. It may have a cracked screen. It may have scratches. It may have, a bad battery. I'm thinking of of a smartphone. It may have a bad battery or something like that. So you are sacrificing a little bit of security for the low price. So, but that's a possibility.
Yeah. My word of caution of eBay is treat eBay as if you were going to a thrift store to buy that thing. And so if I was going to the thrift store and I found, say, an Xbox in a thrift store, I know that I'm buying this with the risk that it might be in bad shape and I'm stuck with it.
Yeah.
Right. And so treat eBay in that way. You're not going to get the guarantees of your Amazons, of your Best Buys, of your bigger stores.
It's not a store per se, like with the return policies and that sort of stuff. I think that's important to keep in mind. And likewise, you can use, like we mentioned before, you could use Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist if you like to wander around in the dungeons of the internet. But you avoid shipping. You can meet someone locally, so you don't have to deal with that. And if you're meeting someone face to face, you can look at the product and hold it in your hand before you hand over the cash. And that's not nothing. So there's a little bit more security in that. Although, there's still, can you turn it on? Will it work the way it's supposed to? There's still that. But at least, you've met someone face to face. You've looked in their eye. You've got a contact address for them. Presumably that's how you arrange the meetup, that sort of thing. So, it's a little bit more secure, but again, Facebook Marketplace, I find it, frankly, I find the marketplace itself to be a real pain to find anything, or because there's so many listings that are like $1, but that's not really what they're selling it for. They just list it for $1 in order to get you in, and then you email them, you message them, and then they never get back to you, or that all kinds of. It can be annoying in that case.
The fair warning with Facebook Marketplace: do not buy stuff that's being shipped necessarily. Right. I would stick towards in-person stuff with Facebook Marketplace. There's a lot of scams, and
you get a brick in the mail,
and or you don't get anything.
It never shows up.
It never shows up. They've taken your money and they've deleted their account by the time Facebook can go after them too.
Right. Right.
And the other thing is, if it's too good to be true,
it is.
It's not.
It's not true.
It's not true. It's too good. You're not getting that brand new iPhone for $100. It's a lie.
Yes. Right. And then another one that I've used, again, it's a little bit like Swappa. Like Swappa is a person-to-person transaction, more like eBay. Backmarket is, they are selling these products. They are a company who has this inventory and they're selling it. They're not a marketplace. They are the seller. But they allow you to buy direct from them. The prices are comparable to what you find on Swappa. You get things like fair condition, good condition, excellent condition. I would generally stay away from anything on any of these listed as fair condition, because there's a pretty low bar for fair. On these, there'll be cracks, there'll be bad scratches or dents. So I usually say good or better. Like if I'm buying for one of my kids, I'll get it in good condition. Because it won't be in good condition long anyway. After they get it. And then one thing actually I liked about Swappa is they will show you battery condition. They'll say either it's in good condition, or this is this percentage of value. I think I mentioned that before. Backmarket doesn't list it. So, but I think they refurb. They tell you about their multi-point checklist that they go through to ensure that stuff is suitable for sale. So, take it for what it's worth. That their reputation depends on them living by that. So again, take that for what it's worth. So that's if you want to get the best price possible, at perhaps the sacrificing a little bit of ease of use or safety and security. but if you want to maximize ease of use, you want to make it as easy as possible. You go to something like Amazon Renewed. That's something that's a service or one of their stores. Amazon Renewed. It's a refurb store, or Apple Certified Refurbished. I've talked about this a lot. I mean, Apple Certified Refurbished is basically it's brand new. Like I have never seen anything come from Apple Certified Refurb that wasn't like it was brand new. And you're going to pay more. They're not cheap. You're not getting it, but it's hundreds of dollars off usually, whether it's a laptop or a phone. You're gonna pay more than you would at one of these other spots, but less than the full market price. Exactly.
And you're still getting, because Apple is what it is. They are not going to ship a product that is less than stellar. So
totally.
They know they can't get the same price as new once it's been used, but they're still going to give you a discount for it. It's like, getting the floor model for something at a store.
And it can be hundreds of.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Apple's going to have their warranties attached to it, which is which is big. And they're going to reset the clock on you being able to buy that the Apple service and all of that stuff.
Yes.
And so those are some of the important things that come with it. If I buy a used or Amazon refurbished Mac, right? Buying the Apple, what is that called?
What's that?
The Apple
iPad?
Protection.
Oh, Apple Care.
Apple Care. If I'm buying off of Amazon, I'm not going to refurbish. I'm not going to be able to add the Apple Care. If I'm buying an Apple refurbished, they're going to reset the clock for the Apple Care.
Although the Amazon Renew does have their own warranties that they offer. And that's the thing. It's not just Apple. It's not just Amazon. Like a lot of the manufacturers, Dell, Lenovo, Acer, Google, all these companies will have refurb stores of varying quality, of varying, not quality, but numbers of different things that they have in the store, like because they all take warranty replacements back or returns, and they need to do something with that stuff. So they write it off by selling it at a discount. Right. So
Lenovo's is solid. Lenovo's is I've used them before, and they are really good. Right.
So if you need a Windows PC. Check out the Lenovo refurb. I'm just let's see here. What you usually end up doing is you can either Google it or it's usually at the bottom of their homepage somewhere in that bottom directory. There'll be refurb store or something along those lines, and that's what you're looking for. Or you just Google it. Like company name refurb or refurbished. Now, if you want to maximize, security, making sure that you're getting what you pay for. Again, certified refurbishers like Apple and Dell, the corporations themselves will do that. Look for reputable platforms. Swappa has a good reputation, so that's a good place to if you want to maximize that. And again, if you're using a Facebook Marketplace, if you're doing in-person deals. Doing in safe public places. If you don't want to, if the police station doesn't do it at the mall, do it at the local McDonald's, in a public place. That's the key. Especially, a lot of people don't want strangers coming to their house. That's a one that I've done it. I've had people come to my house, but I it's not a steal here anyway. But I haven't felt weird about it in the past, but some people, it's important to nobody, come to their house, and I can understand that.
We have a lot of people use church parking lots,
Church
especially now if your church is in a back neighborhood. My parish is in a very open area, and I see a lot of at least I'm hoping that they're meeting up for Facebook Marketplace exchanges. But I see exchanges happening, and I think they're on the up and up. So
furtive passing of small plastic bags, so it would be a bad thing. Yes, maybe they're thumb drives.
It's the TVs they found off the back of the truck, right?
Yes, the stereo speakers. There were always stereo speakers that were extra off the truck. All right, so then I want to talk about some best practices when you are either buying or selling used tech. We've talked about this before. I want to review them because it's important to remember. If you're selling a device or if you're buying a device, make sure it's been factory reset. If it's like an iPhone, turn off the Find My. Make sure if it's any smartphone, make sure it's carrier unlocked. That it's not still locked to their account, to their carrier. You don't want to be a T-Mobile customer and get a phone that's only for AT&T, for instance. So make sure the device has been factory reset, whatever kind of device it is.
Yeah, one of the temptations in this is that you buy a device and you think you get these free software, free games, whatever, because you bought the device and people left things on it. Just remember, with that comes the connection of all of those different services and games and programs are usually tied to the cloud.
Yes.
And so you're giving that person, whether they know it or not, access to your computer and your data, and the tie-in there. And so if it's free, it's too good to be true when it comes with that, unless you're using open source. But
I've seen people sell their selling a computer saying, and it comes with free Microsoft Office and Adobe Creative Suite. And it's like, no, it doesn't.
No, it does not.
Yeah. You will not, that is not coming free with it. That's stays with the other guy, or they're not paying for it anymore, and you're going to lose the use of it. And that goes right into the second point, which is to make sure if you're selling a device, wipe the data securely. Don't, there are different levels of erasing a drive, but you want to do, a full wipe of the drive, a full reset. And if possible, you could encrypt the drive. This is more for a computer than it is for a phone. But you want to encrypt the drive first. That hashes up all the data, and then wipe it, and then it really makes it impossible to get any of that back, to reconstruct it. So make sure the data is the drive is wiped securely. You want to, before you sell something, or before you buy something, frankly, look at the marketplace. What are other people selling similar devices for? And don't just go with the most of one. Like, most people are selling this laptop for $200, but this one guy is selling it for $500. So that's what I'm going to charge, is $500. Well, some people have an unrealistic idea of how much their thing is worth, or vice versa, or it's a scam and they're selling it for $50 because it's stolen. So look at what other people are selling, a similar device in similar condition, and price accordingly. That's really where you should be. I tend to, if I'm selling, I want to be a little lower than the other guys, and if I'm buying, I'm looking for someone who's a little lower than the other guys, than the majority. Like, it works for you either way. I don't look for a lot lower, because then I get suspicious. But a little lower is fine.
Somebody who's edging out the competition. That's the
right.
And you want to be that guy. You want to be that guy edging out the competition, right?
Exactly. Now, this next one, if you're buying, I wouldn't place too high of a value on the accessories and boxes that come with things. Like, if it comes in its original iPhone box, so what? Is the phone in good condition? I don't care. Like, that doesn't bother me. It comes with the original cables. I could get a USB cable. But some people do value that. They really like, it comes in the original box, has all the cables, has all the manuals, whatever. And so you might get more if you're selling, if you keep those. Frankly, I hate taking up the space that all these boxes take up in, my storage. So I usually get rid of them anyway. But if you are the type of person who's always selling old tech and you want to maximize the amount of money you get for it, maybe hang on to the stuff.
Usually when I sell tech, I throw a couple extra random cables in there that I don't want anymore.
Yep.
Why is this 30-pin connector in here?
This has nothing to do with the technology I bought. No, if you think about it though, like that can be really useful if someone's giving it as a gift. They're trying to buy it and give it as a gift. They want the original box for it, so it can be worthwhile to hold on to those. If you're the kind of person that holds on to them anyway, then definitely include it in the sale. Right.
One of the big conundrums of buying and selling online is, especially when it's person to person as opposed to business to consumer, is making sure you don't get scammed, that you don't give someone money and then don't get what you want. And that's a big thing. Or vice versa, selling something to someone and shipping to them and then not getting the money that they owe you. It goes both ways. And so there have been a number of services have popped up called escrow services. Escrow is a concept that long predates the internet, and it's a way, like, it's a third party that holds the money until everyone is certified that the transaction has occurred appropriately, right? So if you don't get the device, you still get the cash. The cash goes back to you, or if you but the thing doesn't get shipped till the cash is in the hand of the third party, that sort of thing. So one of the like, for example, don't use Venmo. Like, don't just Venmo or Cash App somebody money and then expect to get whatever it is that you're buying to show up. Like, if you're doing person to person, in person, if you're like standing there in front of them, yeah, you could Venmo the cash there. But if you're doing anything online, PayPal has a service called PayPal Goods and Services, which is kind of an escrow sort of situation. We'll have a link in the show notes that explains how it works. It's a sort of friends and family. There's friends and family payments. There's goods and services payments, and it kind of talks about the different ways that they work, but how you can use this sort of it's sort of an escrow service for doing like a trusted payment. There are other escrow services out there, but PayPal is a big company, so you can really trust them. But there are other good ones out there as well. You can look those up. I know eBay has an escrow service built in because they need it. People need to trust those transactions.
Yeah, I say with Venmo, treat Venmo like you would cash.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not going to send somebody cash in the mail and expect them to send me a device back.
Right. Once you've Venmoed somebody, that's their money. That's
their money. They own the money, and Venmo is not going to fight for you to give the money back because they assumed that you were doing a transaction with a friend, and it was a mutually agreed on transaction.
Right.
And so the only time I do Venmo is I'm face to face with the person. I have the device in my hand. I've played with the device a little bit, and I've agreed on the price.
Right. Right. Venmo is only in the most trusted transactions. It's like you said, it's like cash. Beware of scams. Someone sends you a check in the mail. I wouldn't take checks. If you want someone to send you money, don't have them send cash in the mail either. Get a bank check or money order. Make sure it's a good money order that sort of thing. Take it to the bank, cash it, that sort of thing. If people overpay you and then want money back, that's a scam. Like, if someone overpays you for something and is demanding you send money back, you can keep the money, but that might be dangerous. Or you could just go to the police station and tell them, here's this transaction. I think they'll know about these sorts of scams. I don't want to get into all the details, but there's an overpayment scam out there that ends up with you being left holding the bag for somebody else's illegal activity. It's basically a money laundering scheme.
Yeah.
And then don't ever ship anything before someone is paid. Like, whatever the sob story, whatever, like, until the cash is in your hand, don't send it, like, or in the escrow service's hand. But don't send stuff to somebody if they ask for you to send it before they've paid, because you will never see that money. You won't. Verify the device's condition. We've said that a few times. Make sure the battery health is good. If it's a phone or a laptop, make sure the screen's in good condition. Turn it on. Look for all the pixels. Look for cracks. On the phone, make sure that it's not stolen and therefore bricked and locked. The iPhones now have this new something deactivation lock, where if a phone is stolen, it will be prevented from being activated on any service. Don't get stuck with one of those. Get warranties if you can, wherever they're available, and then document the sale. Take a photo of, if you're selling a phone, take photo or device, any device, doesn't have to be a phone, take photos of it all over, inside and out, as much as you can, because when they get it, they will try to tell you, oh no, this was more damage than you said it was. And you can say, I have all of these timestamped photos of the device, including its serial number, right? Take screenshots of the transaction screens, online. Keep screenshots of your conversations. Like, protect yourself against false claims.
When you're shipping it, especially if it's a more expensive device, paying the little bit extra for the USPS insurance or whatever on it is worth it.
The certified shipping, yeah.
Yes, it's going to cost you $4 or $5 more to ship it, but if that gets destroyed in shipping, you're going to have to refund an entire purchase, or get in a fight with someone about it. And the fact that you're going to be able to claim that insurance back up to a certain amount is worth the extra cost.
Right. All right. So that is buying and selling used tech and some of our best practices. If folks have any other questions specific about buying and selling used tech, or any tips I'd like to share beyond what we talked about, we'd love to get them. Technology@sqpn.com. Before we move on, I'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the secrets of technology, including Michael P., Jim F., Father Daniel J., Martin O., and Kevin F. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the secrets of technology and all the shows at StarQuest. And you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. So we have a number of headlines we want to talk about. The first one is, and they're all churchy techie things. Sometimes it's not churchy techie, but this time they're churchy techie. The first one is the Vatican had this big concert the other day with these big stars, Andrea Bocelli and John Legend and other people I don't know. But it was right outside of St. Peter's, but it included this massive light show, a drone show that was used to create these images in the sky. And it was pretty remarkable. And there's an article. So Catholic News Agency has an article, obviously, but there was an article in dronedj.com that gives some of the technical details behind it. The company behind it is a company called Nova Sky Stories. And it happens to be run by actually Kimball Musk, is Elon Musk's younger brother, which is kind of funny. And they used 3,500 drones, and these are not off the shelf drones. They built the hardware, software, and firmware for all these drones, for 3,500 drones. They were 12-ounce drones. They can display over 16 million colors, and they had 3,500 of them, 3,000 in the air at any one time. So 500 at any given time, 500 were recharging on the ground or down or whatever. And it's just the way these drone shows work is kind of mind blowing, and how good it can look. There's one image of like Pope Francis kind of peeking up over St. Peter's, which is kind of creepy looking. It's just like, but it's remarkable.
It looks like a picture in the sky. It's amazing. Like the color fidelity that it gets and the gradient and everything. Yes. It's just really, it's amazing.
A lot of religious art obviously in it. Michelangelo, they have this particular icon of Mary. I don't remember which one it is, but they have the Pieta. Yeah, it was pretty remarkable.
I'm just wondering how far we are with that picture of Pope Francis in the sky. How long are we till you could have like drones projecting movies over huge
over a city?
Yeah.
I have seen some pretty like big, like they said this was one of the biggest drone shows that they've done in Europe. But I've seen ones like I think in China where they had it looked like more drones than that even. But it's pretty wild to see. I mean, these are big images in the sky.
Yeah. As a Nebraskan, for the Huskers, which is our state religion, during the break between the third and the fourth quarter, they do a light show And part of the holding is drone images. And so they do all of that stuff. So that regularly is happening every Saturday. And it's kind of cool to see how they move the picture around with drones.
I mean, technically, to get like 480p, you'd need about 307,000 drones. So,
it's possible.
It's possible. It's not unreasonable. I thought it was kind of funny that Kimball Musk was the guy doing this, because just a few days later, Pope Leo was criticizing his brother as being the world's first trillionaire. So, oops, that's awkward. But
Well, and it's the interesting thing to me is like I think the movie thing is one question, but the really cool thing is where they get into the motion between images, and the 3-dimensionality of it. So the ability to have these drones do 3-dimensional light images is really, really impressive.
That is, I've seen like animated like birds flying, like the wings moving, and it just boggles the mind. Like these things are like, when you break it down, they're just little things flying in formation, and they're not crashing into each other. They know exactly where they are at all times. They know how much they have to move. I mean, it's just a big, calculation problem, right? I mean, it's just amazing that they can do this. It's pretty wild. I really thought it was cool.
I mean, in essence, there's not much of a difference between what's happening in your computer monitor or your TV monitor and what's happening with these. It's a bunch of lights, and you're programming the lights on how you're just adding the extra element of flight into it, which is not just adjust, but it's incredible.
It's just pixels. So our next headline is on it says AI generated Bible content stirs controversy. This is an NPR story. So there was a YouTube channel called AI Bible that from the people behind Pray.com, which is a for-profit Christian company that has as they say, the world's #1 app for faith and prayer. Although I think that people at Hallow might dispute that, but I'm not sure where that all stands these days. I'm not going to get in the middle of that. But in any case, the AI Bible YouTube channel, these guys basically created AI generated movies of Bible stories. And they call it edutainment, or what was another term, like edge-inspirational? I don't know. It's one of these awful mashup words. But it basically, they take scenes out of, or stories out of the Bible, and they've turned them into Marvel or video cutscene versions of them.
Or Pixar style. That's the one that I've seen a bunch of.
There's been some that are like influencer style of like
they got the phone
Moses crossing the Red Sea, and he's got the phone up in the hand.
Now,
and he's,
to be clear, that wasn't these guys. Like these
this
guys
was a different one.
Yeah, there are a number of different people doing these different things, but the AI Bible ones, they were being criticized. And I wonder how far that criticism went, because as we went to start the show today, I noticed that the YouTube channel for AI Bible is gone. It says this video is no longer available because the YouTube account associated with this video has been terminated, and that I don't know if that means YouTube shut them down for something or they just deleted their own channel. I think it's interesting, given that they didn't seem to be concerned at the criticism, and some theologians did have some criticism because, despite the technical capability of it, there was some concern about using AI to generate stories of from the Bible, and how does that theologically jibe? That is that. I was trying to find a specific criticism. This one guy said, I'm always this Reverend Dr. Paul Hoffman, a professor of biblical religious studies at Samford University in Birmingham. I've always been a fan of anything that drives interest in the story of the Holy Scripture or in the Bible. But he did wonder about the decision to animate some of the more difficult to interpret parts of the Bible, like the book of Revelation and the story of the Nephilim in the Old Testament. Some of what they are doing is taking things that are within Christian scholarship debatable. And that might be part of the problem. Like, it's one thing to do stories of Jesus because those are more narrative. But once you start to get into things that require some interpretation and creating images of them, you're making them a little more concrete. I mean, that's frankly, some people were critical of projects like Passion of the Christ because it's setting in stone, and if you will, a particular interpretation of the Passion of Jesus. And that's a similar argument here. And then you add on top of it what some people call AI slop. It looks very much like AI.
Yeah,
clearly. What do you guys think of this whole project? Is it bad? Is it good? Do you have a problem with them using AI to generate Bible movies? What do you think?
I think the interpretation issue is a real problem, and that to me, I feel like people don't realize how much effort, even to generate the slop. There is a lot of prompting effort that goes into it, where you get an initial pass that is not good, and then you refine that pass. So the person who created this may argue that they just took the text straight out of the Bible and then generated a video from it. And that may be where they started, but it's definitely not where they ended. And they made decisions between that beginning point and the end product that they got out. And they may say, well, I was just making it fit the words more correctly. Well, that was especially when you get to things like Revelation, that was your interpretation of what the words meant, not necessarily the actual intention of the book itself.
And the words they choose to use, because they have actors giving lines, and they're not strictly straight out of the Bible. And frankly, which translation of the Bible you use is even an issue if you were going to do that. But some of this is not even like directly out of any translation. So one of the guys says, who behind it, he says they use a huge variety of AI tools, including ChatGPT, to develop concepts and still images of what they want the story to look like. Then they record a video in their office on their phone, mimicking the action. And then he says, the cool thing is you can take that video, put it into the video generator, and it will turn you into Elijah or one of the prophets or what have you. But yeah, you're right. Every time they make a video, they're making decisions about how to portray what the Bible talks about. Is that different from a movie, though? Or the Ten Commandments.
So I will say this, and here's my generalized AI pushback on this. AI is going to give you what you want. When you have a creative group of people that are collectively working together, each person's interpretation is shading it, and that to some people that seems like a bad thing. But the reality there is that when you spread the responsibility for the creative effort amongst human people who have differing opinions and are going to come to consensus through a discussion, not just being agreeable, you get a better product because you get a more real product that uses their life experiences, uses the history that they have wrestling with those Bible passages, and build something collective that's human and good and art. Whereas with AI is just going to say, oh, you wanted it that way? Okay, I'll do that instead. And then it's just going to agreeably alter to whoever the kind of lead person's perspective is.
So AI cannot have the experience of salvation and the experience of a soul and these very real things of the things that, Mel Gibson does the Passion, and there is something that is happening within the man who is Mel Gibson as he is interacting with the story of the Passion that is touching him as an actual human being. And that's not happening with AI. It's information. It's ones and zeros. There's no soul that this is happening in. And in this really real incarnational way, what can happen with a movie, a book, a painting, anything, is not happening with AI when it comes to that interaction between the scripture and the human person as the artist.
I think there's also the form that the art takes is also a factor. One of the critics says it has that Marvel video game aesthetic in all the worst ways. And then he says, I think that the package, the form, situates the Bible as entertainment, as content to be titillated or amused by, rather than a word that is divine revelation intended to transform our lives. And that's, I think, that's one of the things, like, if one of the critiques of The Chosen, which I think is, it's okay to kind of ask the question, but I think The Chosen doesn't fall into the trap. But some people think The Chosen is a little too casual. Doesn't take the subject matter of Jesus seriously enough. I disagree with that. I think actually The Chosen does a great job. But movies like the Ten Commandments, like The Passion of the Christ, they treat this topic, this subject, with deference and with gravity. If you Marvelize it, if you video gameize it, it doesn't, I think. And I think that's the critique. So it's an interesting topic, and it's the channel is down, so maybe these guys have decided that that the critics were right. I don't know. It's an interesting question. All right, our final headline is from Vice.com. AI Jesus chatbots are freaking out philosophy professors. I'm not sure why philosophy professors, but I would think it would freak out theologians. But there are a number of AI chatbots that are being offered out there that, say they purport to speak in a variety of deities, not Muhammad or Allah, I will note, but a variety of deities' voices, but usually Jesus. Jesus is, of course, the most popular for, I think, obvious reasons. And they claim to speak in his voice. The thing is none of these are from churches. Almost all of them are from companies or individuals or unknown figures behind them of various. And there is some concern that people will treat these chatbots as if they really are Jesus, as if they really are a connection to the divine. And they worry about AI-induced psychosis, which is a real thing, and delusions. But there's even just people who are unsophisticated, who don't understand that you can't, that just because it responds like Jesus doesn't mean that it really is Jesus back there somewhere. What do you guys think? Is it just is a chatbot that purports to be Jesus just entertainment, especially if they tell you up front and make sure you know that, or does it cross the line?
I would say there's a true reality of when people are in moral dilemmas. And speaking of the experience of just speaking with people in their moral dilemmas, the amount of time people go and Google their moral dilemmas is probably more than most people would think. Yeah. And this really scares me if I go in, and even if I do it with a little bit in the back of my mind, like, yeah, this is fake, right? But I go and I say, well, what would Jesus do? And so I ask AI Jesus, what would he do? And AI Jesus gives me the moral answer to my problem that I'm in, and, tells me that I should go whatever. I'm not going to use examples, but tells me what I should go and do, and what AI Jesus tells me is immoral or not with the truth,
or just archaic.
Yeah.
I mean, just not to. There are things that you wouldn't do today that Jesus did as a matter of course of life at the time, right?
So who's training these things too? Like, how do we know, like, what is it being trained on? And don't forget the problem that a lot of the chatbots we've identified with a lot of the chatbots, the LLMs, is that they want to please the person they're talking to. Like they are people pleasers. It's just in the nature of these devices. And so they will often tell you what you want to hear. Like that guy who had the AI induced psychosis where it was telling him that he was divine. There was a headline a few weeks or months ago. So there's also like just this thing is going to tell you what you want to hear in many cases. So yeah, I think it's problematic.
We've had stories around, and I won't go too far into this, but around depression and things. And I'm especially worried if you start having AI say it's speaking in the name of Jesus, some of those decisions and things that shouldn't be being made. If, quote, God is telling you to do it.
Right.
No.
Yeah, it's dangerous. It's not really curiosity. This is actively dangerous. And I think that it shouldn't be. People should avoid these at all costs.
I feel like, and I know Dom, that you've made the AI Jimmy, but I feel like when it comes down to it, one of the things that definitely needs to be avoided is ascribing any sense of authority or personality to AI. AI is a text prediction tool, so you would not ask your text completion. You wouldn't, and that's exactly it. You wouldn't ask autocorrect to make a moral decision. You would not ask autocorrect to answer a complicated problem and expect that answer to be clear, concise, and an actual good response. At the very, very best, you're going to get a very medium. And this is the thing that I always stress with AI. What you are getting is the absolute median value response. It is not a great response. By definition, it is not a good response. It is the middle of the road.
It's remarkable, but
And when it comes to moral decisions, because I've experimented and seen what AI says on things before, just out of curiosity, it's searching Reddit forums. Please do not make your moral decisions based on r dash whatever. We can do better, people.
So don't farm out your moral decision making to AI. So those are our headlines. Let's move on to our picks of the week. Thomas, you're up first. What's your pick this week?
All right, so my pick is an app called Your Focus Friend. It is by Hank Green, who I love the Brothers Green. I have been following them forever on YouTube and in various other endeavors. They're fantastic. This was Hank Green's brainchild. He wanted to make an app that helped you put your phone down. And so that's exactly what it does. You have this little bean friend that you tell it how long you want to focus on a task and to put your phone down, and you set it up and it stays there knitting. And so the bean is knitting, and as you go off and do your thing, if you absentmindedly pick up your phone and look at it, the bean is facing away from you, and you have to push a button that says interrupt the bean in order to use your phone. And the bean is very disappointed in the fact that you've interrupted it, and you feel horrible when you have to interrupt this darn bean from doing it. So absolutely fantastic app. It's not going to lock your phone up. It's not going to keep you from doing any of the things you need to do, but it's that gentle nudge that you might need to leave the phone alone for a little bit of time. And then after you've done enough of it, the bean collects some rewards for itself that it can build a little room. It starts off in a very bare room, and then you get little rewards that, like a rug and a chair and some curtains and things like that. So it's really cool. Great app. I really think it was so fantastic.
It has a free version and a paid version. But
yes. The free version does everything you need to. The paid version is only adding some cosmetic stuff on top of it.
Okay. I see this one says you can add back apps you need to access while you're focusing. So if you have, like, if you need to be available for messages or something like that. But yeah, that's cool. So yeah, it blocks the apps while you're in the focus mode. Cool. iOS and Android. Excellent. So, Father, what's your pick this week?
My pick is a little more low tech. I've had sometimes buildings that I'm in that are older buildings and security and unlocking doors and remote unlocking and keeping things secure. And I found this smart remote door Insta-lock. They call it smart remote. It doesn't hook to your phone. It's a remote control that moves a servo motor. But it fits right over your standard deadbolt lock. You push the button to lock it or to unlock it. It turns the motor, unlocks and locks it. If you're wanting to install magnetic locks in an old building, you're going to be paying several $1,000s. This is $80. And so it's a good in between for security in the strange world that we live in today. The remote controls, there's a pair button on them. You have to hit the pair button on each so they exchange a handshake together. So I'm guessing they're pretty secure. So people aren't going to hijack and grab a remote to try to get into your place. It's probably akin to what the garage door opener stuff works at. So
it seems like it just it's pretty easy to retrofit. It doesn't require replacing the locks you already have, and it's not a smart home device that requires Wi-Fi or other wireless protocols, that sort of thing. It's just basic remote RF, like an old-fashioned garage door opener. But I think it would be great either for older folks who need something a little bit more than just a key, or want something more than just a key, or if you have secondary doors that you just need to, to secure, and sometimes, be able to get in and out of them easier.
Or if you have a small business, and you have those secure lanes for entry. But I can think of people that I've visited in their homes who are, walker bound, wheelchair bound, things like that, and someone rings the bell, the doorbell, and kids have installed the Ring doorbell for them. Right, this is the second part of that.
Right, they don't have to get up and go and lock the door.
Being able to push a button, say, "Come in, the door's now unlocked," and then being able to securely lock the door. Also, if you think about fall risk, right, at night, if Dad has that remote on his bedside, he can push to lock the door. It has a really good range. And so he can push to lock the door, and that door can lock without him having to go and stumble across the dark house or go down the stairs and do all of that. And so good little useful $80 tool.
Yeah, nice. All right, my pick is even lower tech than that. Mine is they're right on zip ties. So what it's basically a zip tie with a little flag bit, a little plastic bit at the end that you can write on with like a Sharpie or something. And I use these to label my cables on my desk. I've started labeling them with the protocol and the power. So if it's 100 watt, if it's 60 watt, if it's a data only or power only, actually it's usually not data only, power only, 5 volt, that sort of stuff. Or it's like, this is the cables under my desk, and this is the one that goes over to that device over there, just to kind of label it. And I zip tie it on, cut off the excess. I've got the little, I've written what it is on it. It's better than a piece of tape, which often falls off, that sort of thing. And you can get 200 of them for $8. I mean, can't get any cheaper than that. So the little right-on wire zip ties.
I use those exact ones. I clicked on the link and it showed on my previous Amazon orders. I actually did order these.
There you go.
I used it when I was running network wires in a building, and to label what the wire was going to before I terminated it, so I knew
exactly
where to put it. And that when I was no longer at that parish years and years later, whoever came in after me would know where all my cables were going.
Right. That's right. Excellent. So those are our picks. That's our show. And so now we'd like to ask you for your feedback on anything we've talked about today. You can do that by commenting on the show at sqpn.com/technology or the StarQuest Facebook page, facebook.com/StarQuestMedia. Send an email to technology@sqpn.com. Visit the StarQuest Discord community at sqpn.com/Discord. You can find links from our discussion and our picks of the week on our show notes at starquest.fm/TEC314. And by the way, you can always listen to the show and download the file from the show at that link at our website. There was some problems last week with our feeds to the podcast feeds. One of our service providers was having a weird hiccup that was sending random files from their servers. So some people got a 2-minute thing in German, which I have no idea what it was because I don't speak German. In any case, if anything like that ever happens, you can always go directly to our website and listen to or download the show right there. So in this case, it's starquest.fm/TEC314. So until next time, Father Joseph's son, thank you for joining me and sharing the secrets of technology.
My pleasure.
And Thomas Sanjurho, thank you as well.
It's been great.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Technology on StarQuest. Here's another show on the StarQuest network you're sure to enjoy. Let's Science. Find the show wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/science.